Alrighty. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. In this video, uh, I'm gonna get into the trade that we took on Friday and on NQ, and I'm gonna go over gold as well, and then I'm gonna go over my outlook on both of these for coming into next week. So let's get right into it. Um, so this day right here was the Friday, pretty much. This was the overnight session. We did not really do much. We had a bearish day on Thursday. As soon as the market opened, pretty much, we were just chopping our way down. This is a pretty hard short to play, to be honest, because of the amount of retracements. So you'd probably get hit at break even or your trailing stop loss like indefinitely trading NQ on a day like this, to be honest. Unless you're taking small wins, small 30, 20, 30 pointers. But going into Friday's overnight session, the market opens right here. We retrace pretty much the entire drop that we did on Thursday. And we're back at these lows. We're holding above these lows. Let me mark it out, see if that helps. So if you put a line here, you can see we reclaimed above that low. This low that we were holding above here this entire time, right? And then comes Friday. Uh, the overnight session here, we kept chopping in this range, holding above this support line. You see how this line went from resistance. It went from being a support. Well, it was a resistance here, and then it became a support. Even here for a little bit, you can see it hesitates, and then once it breaks through, it actually gives strong downside. So this 145, 150 level is a pretty big level. Anyway, back to what we were saying. Thursday we trailed down, and then we gap up right into the market open on Friday. I think this was earnings. I think we had some earnings here that pushed it back up here. To be honest, I can't recollect. Anyway, we don't have to think that far behind for the trade that I was taking. For the trade that I was taking, all you needed to see is from here onwards. So, what did we do in the overnight session? Jack shit, right? We ranged fucking a 50-point range, and here towards the New York pre-market, uh, we can see we tried to hold above the 5-minute 200, right? And we tried to bounce. If we were going to flip bullish on Friday, what we would have seen is the 5-minute 200. After we broke below it, we reclaimed above, whatever reason, whether that was ER or whatever happened overnight to make us go back up there. If we were bullish, we would have held this range. We wouldn't have broken below this support. What the fuck, man? Let me change it, bro. We did not hold below this support range, right? And I showed you how we determined that, right? On a short-term bias, on a short-term time frame. But so we go into Friday, and what do I notice when I look at the charts? I actually got to the charts quite late, to be honest. So I got there around 9:45, going into 10 a.m. So when I got to the charts, what I had noticed is that we had broken down below this level, this support line, right, at 145. And once I saw the sharp rejection, once we see a sharp rejection down here, breaking below our 145 level right here, uh, then you can start thinking about shorts. And that's where I started thinking about short-term bias. And going into 10 a.m. right here, as we all know, the 10 a.m. candle is the new 4-hour, right? So as soon as the new 4-hour opened, what I had in mind is let's wait. Let's wait for this 4-hour candle, the new one, to make a wick up. Okay. For us to have our bearish bias, and then we can take an entry. Shorting here, shorting anywhere in this range, you would get obliterated. So it's always best to wait for a retrace. If you miss your entry, you miss your entry. I missed the short, right? I'm not chasing shorts down here just because I saw this strong momentum coming down. I'm not chasing. I wait for a pullback. I don't get my entry, I get out of there. It's not a trade for me, right? So we get the push down with momentum, right? Look, 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 minute candles that are red with no retrace in between. So this is strong momentum down for about 100 points. And at that point, I flipped bearish, or I confirmed my bearish bias. I don't think I was bullish at any point, but I mean, in today's market, you should be bullish unless fucking shown otherwise, right? So we get the dump, we get the new 4-hour candle, and we start actually retracing like we want. Over here, when we rejected over here, I started kind of regretting not shorting over here, but then I saw the immediate wick back up and I was like, all right, the move is probably going to be somewhere higher. So we waited for the retrace, and once it got to the 5 minute 200 right here, I started watching how it's acting. But as soon as it got to the 5 minute 200, during that 5 minute candle, I started watching it and it was like hesitating over here like this. So I was like, fuck it. We'll take it at 175. I ended up getting a fill a little bit higher than, well, my fill was 173, but the signal was 175. Well, I mean, I tried to get in at 175. It was a market order, so it just filled me at 173.5. That was my exact fill, 26, 173.5. But once we got to the 5 minute 200, that's where I was like, okay, this is a decent place to try the shorts. And I'll show you why it aligned with multiple time frames in a second. But the short entry was here at 175, and then the stop loss was at 190. Okay, and it was a 15-point stop loss. I set my stop here because if we were actually going to break over the 5 minute 200, like with strength, I really didn't want to be sitting in this. So like if I was wrong on this, I was going to find out really quickly, you know? So I wanted to have like reasonably tight stops. So I set a 15-point stop on this one. I set it to 190. I was like, if it breaks over 190, it's probably just going to explode past 200 and back into the 220, 250 range. And we would continue trending up. But thankfully, that was not the case. And we were right about the 4-hour making a top wick before actually coming back down and going through the continuation move that it was actually going to do. So if you go to the 15 minute, you can see we were also at the highest 15 minute EMA, right? All the EMAs had curled down after this dump, and we retraced back up to the highest EMA on that time frame. And we did not get any 15-minute closure above the final EMA here, which happens to be the 50, the orange. We never got closure above. So you didn't even need to short where I shorted. You could wait for confirmation. And I'll show you where the confirmation is. There are two main candles that are screaming shorts. And this is when I knew, like I knew that this was going to play out when I saw this happen. So I'm not going to lie, I was stressing here. When we held here, so if we're bullish usually, like let's say I'm bullish from here, right? I want to be bullish from here. And we go up to the 5 minute 200 here and we hold and we reject and hold the 9. See how it kept holding here? When it kept holding here, I was having doubts. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was having doubts for sure. But I mean, I wasn't. It was too early for me to go to break even, so I was just committing to it. I kept my stop loss at minus 15 points, and I just stuck to it. So we attempted to hold the 9, which is usually a bullish signal for me. When we do hold this after rejecting the 5-minute 200, we held up, and then immediately over here we got a red candle back down. Now this candle is not necessarily confirmation, but this candle breaking below these lows was complete. Like, I knew for fucking sure this is done. This is coming down. Even with this wick that it made, which was fucked up, to be honest. It was wicking a lot. This was for bear. And this was for a bearish move. This was for bears to play out. So you could, I guess, another re-entry is once you see this candle, this 5-minute candle, you can wait for a retrace off the new 5-minute, and then you could take like another short, like a short here, for example. Let me show you. You wait for the new 5-minute to retrace back up. Let's say it retraces to 50% of this candle, the equilibrium of this candle. You take it here with a 15-point stop loss. Okay. That plays out after you got your confirmation candle here, after breaking these lows. So multiple locations you could play this. You didn't have to top ticket the way we did, but we really got the best fucking entry at 175. So, and let me show you how this aligns on the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, remember how we were saying we're gonna wait for the 10 a.m. candle, and we're gonna see how much of a wick it makes before we take it for shorts, right? So this was the candle, right? It opened up, and where did it go up to? It went to the closure of the previous 4-hour candle. Look at this. This shit's a work of art. The closure of the previous 4-hour candle right here. It comes up, taps it, and immediately nuked. Well past our TP. So my TPs, where did I TP? I was pretty much out here. Yeah, I was long gone by here once it hit 100 points. Although I did know that it was going to continue lower, to be honest. So it's a part of me regrets it, but it's fine. Like, it would be pretty stupid not to take 100 points. And then look at this wick. To be honest, this wick, that's a crazy ass wick to sit through. You know, so you saw how I started trailing it, and then eventually this wick trailed me out, or some wick trailed me out. But we were able to capture at least 100 points on the Nasdaq that day. And then we come down towards the end of the day after we retraced up. And just for price action, by the way, this is what I had noticed. To be honest, I didn't take this long, but confirmation for longs here. You could have taken at the 9 and 21 EMA cross right here. So let's say you see the cross here. You can take the entry here. I mean, you need to have a wide stop. You need to have like, I mean, yeah, okay, let's see. You can do a 15-point stop actually, and you'd be able to capture the move back up to the 5-minute 200. That's 120 points. So you see how the 9 curled above the 21, and then we started riding it up back to the 5-minute 200, and that's where we rejected again. But obviously, I did not take that long. After we caught the short, we called it a day. It was a big short, and we wrapped it up for the day. But that was why I took the shorts in general. We would have held this level if we were going to be short. Yeah, if we were going to be bullish, right? But we did not. What happened at market open? We dumped, right? And then we started consolidating, going into the new 4-hour candle. And then once the new 4-hour candle opened, it expanded upwards. Where did it expand upwards to? To the previous 4-hour closure. And then what did we do over there? Which happened to be the 5-minute 200, which happened to also be the highest EMA on the 15-minute time frame. We reject heavily. And you could see this on ES too. On ES, I believe it was even smoother. Look at ES. Go to ES on the 5-minute. Look at this. Compared to NASDAQ, you saw how NASDAQ wicked up. NQ always wicks more. NQ always wicks out more. If anyone's going to stop you out, it's the NASDAQ. Okay, this goddamn thing. So, but on ES, this would have been no drawdown. None. Negative. You take the 5-minute 200 tap. You can take it with a 1-point stop. It's not getting hit. 1 point. 1 point, and you're catching 55 points on ES. So it was beautiful. It was a beautiful bias to have. It was the correct bias to have, given the fact that we reacted to this. We didn't predict this. I wasn't short up here. I wasn't short here. I wasn't short here. Even though the EMAs looked like they're curling down, and I was going to take, it could have been ideal to take shorts, like off of predicting it. But I waited. I waited for confirmation. We got the breakdown. Once we get the breakdown, we wait for a retest, get positioned with good stops, and write it down. And yeah, like we can see, it played out beautifully on ES, even more than NQ, to be honest. Because NQ, you see how we kept wicking over here, so that was fucked. But yeah, so that's how. That's why I was short on Friday, and that's how that was the trade thesis behind that. Now let's go to gold. The video is getting a little long. I need to wrap it up. Looking at gold, I didn't want to go over this because I want to fucking bash my monitor right now, actually. But let's get into this trade, which we predicted from before it even got there, right? And on gold, like we caught everything, bro. We caught everything on gold. So gold on the 15-minute, or where was it? The 30-minute, right? Look at the gold shorts at the 30-minute 200 touch here. We were able to catch this one. We were able to catch this one. And then, nah, hold on, I'm tripping. Where are we? Yeah, we were able to catch this short. Okay, and then once we reclaimed back up here, and you see how the 9 curled above the 21. Like, look, we're dumping here, and then you're not doing shit. You're either in a short from here and you're riding it, or you're not doing anything, or you're waiting, right? So what I waited for the 1 hour 100, which happened to be the 30-minute 200. This short was a great short. Take the short here at the 30-minute 200, 3-point stop loss, and ride. But on the 1 hour, this short, we missed it. It was perfect. It was perfect, but I did not take the touch. So what I should have done was, and we mentioned this before it even got here, right? So when the price was here, we were like, all right, the 1 hour 200 is coming. Okay. Once the 1 hour 200 comes, we're going to short. And we were all, literally, the whole Discord, everyone and their mother was ready to short. And I think only one of us caught it because they took the initial touch. I didn't take the initial touch, and I'll explain why. But the short was here. It did edge it, to be fair. It edged it, bro. But it's fine. The edge was supposed to be here. The trade was supposed to be here. Take the 5-point stop. And it would have printed fucking 55 points on that shit. We had a level at we wanted to short 4,060, and it ended up rejecting 4,059.9. But multiple reasons why I wanted to take this short. One being the 1 hour 200. Why did I think it's going to go to the 1 hour 200? Because look at what happened at the 1 hour 100 or the 30-minute 200. If we were just going to dump, we would have dumped here, broken this low over here. But we didn't. We held up, right? You see the double bottom here? We held up and we started retracing up. We got the 9 EMA curl above the 21 on the 30-minute. So I was assuming we're going to come back and retouch the 30-minute 200. And we did. And then look, and then it rejects again, which is insane, man. Fuck. And then we hold that and push back up. And at this point, after you see how the 9 now is like this versus versus here when it tapped it here. Like look, when it tapped it here on the 30-minute, why did we not break above here? Why did we not break above? Because we already rejected the 30-minute 200 once, right? So like you might be thinking, why am I not assuming that we're gonna rip through it now this time? And the reason was because look at the EMAs, bro. The EMAs are all the way still, like they're still all the way down. They haven't curled properly. We're not riding it. We're not moving up in a healthy manner. It was a spike up, right? We spiked up and immediately went back down. But over here, you see how we kept riding the 9? You see how the 9 kept trailing up? This is when I knew that we will go to the 200 this time. And that's where we look for shorts. And then the tilt that night started when I knew that we were going to the 1 hour 200 and I just didn't long this for some fucking reason. I didn't long it. Although it was an easy 30-point long. And it would have given me the like some wiggle room for the short in case the short didn't work, right? I wanted to make some money on the way up. So I started tilting a little bit. And then when we got over here on the 1 hour, you can't see this now, but in real time, it was 5 minutes left for this hourly candle to close. And we were up here. There was 5 minutes left. And we come back down after we touch it. And I don't take my entry. The biggest fucking mistake of my week. I do not take my 4059.9 or 4060 entry. Or even 4058. Like, I usually don't even put it at the 200. I put it a little bit lower. As soon as it gets there, it immediately rejects, right? And then I didn't want to chase it down here. Bro, can this? I'm just going to get rid of this. I don't want to chase it down here. Okay. So I was like, all right, the hourly is about to close. I'm going to wait for the new hourly to open, come up, make a wick here. I'll click the sell button with everything I have, bro. If it did that, I swear to God, I would never not take that setup. All I wanted was a wick back up on this hourly candle, and then it never gave it. It never gave it. It dumped immediately to 4030. That's 30 points right there. Like you could be out right there. And then it retraces back up and then continues back down. Then on a 5-minute time frame, this is what it looks like. We wanted to short here at 4060. And basically look at this wick. This is the wick that hit the 1 hour 200. And then it just kept dumping since. The new hourly did not give me an entry back up here like I wanted. So I ended up missing an A1 setup, to be honest, on gold. But we did call this out. We did call it out before it even got there. We called it out. We said we're going to go to the 1 hour 200 when we were here, right here. I was like, we're going to the 1 hour 200. And we were all ready to short here. One of the members was able to take the first tap. He had a 4059 entry. It was the golden entry for shorts. And you can capture, look at this, ended up playing out up to 60 points. 60 points on GC, that's $6,000 with a single mini. So it was a decent trade. And the 1 hour 200 was one confluence. The fact that we rejected the 1 hour 100 previously was giving me more confidence that over here we're actually going to make it up to the 1 hour 200. And then I was just going for a move down off of that. And then structurally, if you look at it over here, structurally, I mean, we need to make this thicker a little bit. if you look at the structural location of where I was looking to short, it was just a beautiful, beautiful spot. Um, so what happened here? Look, this level 4020 something. Uh, why is it so crucial? Like, look at what happens here. We try to break above, it acts as resistance, and we dump from 4020, 4000. Sorry, the level is 4060. Why is it such an important level? Because look at when we get to it here. We try to go above, we tap 4080, and then we dump. We dumped almost 100 points off of that 4060 level right here. And then we go back up, reclaim above it, and you can see struggle. You can see how we're struggling with this level. Multiple occasions. And then once we broke above it, it was smooth sailing all the way to all-time high, right? And then what happened now? We got back to the level, and you can see how 4060 is acting. I mean, it's not always going to act as perfect support, you know what I mean? As you can see here, it disrespects it, but then it reclaims it. Same here. But for example, here, it was a good test of it. But in general, you can see resistance, and then it becomes support. And then we break below it, becomes resistance. Look how we acted here. Look at this one. Break below 4060. We tap 4030, come back up to 4060, reject. And then we start riding the 9. Reject the 21, come back down. So you got to figure out the story. So below 4060 here, gold is kind of in danger, you know, especially after how strong of a bullish move it's given us so far across multiple weeks, right? We got 9 green weeks on this thing, and we're finally seeing a few fucking red candles. So yeah, structurally, it was a beautiful location, right? To try it out right here at 4060. And we tried it out here. And this was also a good spot, to be honest. Like, on a, looking at it structurally, you know. But this one was perfect. And it aligned with the 1 hour 200, which we had previously rejected twice. Both 1 hour 200 shorts paid. All three, actually, now including this one. So for us to flip back bullish over on gold coming into next week, we're gonna at least need it to go over the 1 hour 200 and break above this level here. So break above 1 hour 200, hold above 4060, and we'll flip bullish on it. If we hold above 4060, I will assume that we will come back up to 4150 area. We hold above that, we'll go back up to 4220, etc. 250, back to all-time highs. Okay, so that's the bias on gold. I'm bearish on gold as long as we're below 4060. There's at least 10 messages in the Discord of me saying these words. If we're bearish, if we're below the number 4060 on gold, I'm bearish. And if we break above it, I'll flip bullish. That's it. That's my bias. That's my outlook on gold coming into next week. My eyes are all on the 4060 level or the 1 hour 200. For the NASDAQ, the NASDAQ is getting interesting, man. Because it's getting interesting. Because we have a massive gap. Where is this rectangle, man? Where is this rectangle? God damn, bro. If I could find this rectangle, bro, I'll be able to. All right. This gap. This gap right here. The new week opening gap. We need to worry about it. And I'm thinking about it. I'm not going to lie. But, I mean, there's no need to predict it. You know, we'll be able to catch it once we break below. Once we break below this 9 EMA on the daily, and specifically crossing this area 740 to this low here 725. As soon as we break this area, I would assume we're going to fill this gap, and this is a big gap. This is a 200 point gap. Okay, so we'll be able to chase it if need be for the gap fill. We don't have to predict it, but it is on my mind, and it might not be obvious on the daily because the daily still looks strong as fuck, right? But when you go to the 4 hour, uh if you look at the 4 hour, which is where we caught the short, right? Over here at 175. This 4 hour candle ended up rejecting and closing below the 9 and the 21. And then the new 4 hour gave a massive bounce, which I honestly did not expect to get this big of a bounce. I mean, I did anticipate it goes up to here or here, but I didn't expect it to go all the way to 120. But regardless, this is how we closed, right? And this to me is a pretty bearish closure, to be honest. Although we failed to break below these lows over here, we failed to break below these lows and start heading towards this gap, which would align with the 4 hour 100 EMA. But this 4 hour candle closure, this one is pretty bearish. It seems to be telling me that price is refusing to accept above these highs here. And you can draw, I guess, a trend line. I mean, nah, fuck the trend line. But bro, what's going on? I kind of want to have bearish bias on NQ going into next week, but we'll wait for confirmations and we'll watch the price action and see if we can get a couple good entries. But I'm thinking it's time to fill this gap, especially given the way this 4 hour candle closed. But we're gonna have to see how we open the new week today, this Sunday night. We'll see if we have any new week opening gaps. Like, who knows? We might open gap down all the way back inside the gap. Who knows how crazy shit would open? So we'll see how we open, and we'll move on from there. But on NQ, I'm bearish as long as we're below 26,095 or 26,100. We can just say 26,100. If price holds below 2,600, I think there's hope for us to come and head towards the gap fill at 25.5. Otherwise, if we reclaim back above the 9 and the 21 on the 4 hour or 2,600, we can start playing the upside. So yeah, that's the plan coming into next week on NQ and gold. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll answer them in the chat. Peace out, homies.